the third episode of the Lovebird Lane podcast. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am your host Julianne, and I'm in a bit of a different place today. You can see in the background. We have had what feels like forever of hot weather just recently here. We've had many days this week that have been either pushing 40 degrees or over 40 degrees. So Simon and I have kind of been using the lounge room, which is where I am right now. I am sitting on my sofa in the lounge room. We have been using the lounge room as our little sanctuary because it's the only room in our house that has air conditioning. So we've been spending a lot of time in here. I haven't had a lot of work done this week, as in Lovebird Lane shop work, because it's just been too hot. It's like anywhere I go other than in here, and the craft room kind of gets a little bit of the cool breeze from the air conditioner, but it's not really enough for me to spend any reasonable amount of time in there. I wound a couple of skeins of yarn for a project that I will be talking about shortly in there the other day, and just doing that I had sweat pouring down the back of my head. I could feel it in my hair, and all down my face. So it's just not feasible at the moment in our home to be able to really get anything done other than sit here in my lounge room and knit and watch television, and it's awful. But we'll get through it. Summer doesn't last forever. So I'm here recording again today. I've got a couple of projects to talk about, new projects too, actually, rather than old projects. Today we have already had our house inspection because we rent our home. We had an inspection this morning, so that's all been done. I spent the morning vacuuming, which was highly unpleasant. In the end, I had the aircon on while I was vacuuming this room and the bedroom and everything, because that, again, sweat just pouring down. It's disgusting. I've had a shower, I've put some makeup on, I'm feeling much better now. I've had plenty to drink. I've got a nice glass of cold soda water here at the moment. Oh, I needed that. And so I know I'm here talking to you, which, I love to do. So, or at least I'm talking to myself to a camera. But yes, I hope you all enjoyed last week's episode. If you haven't watched it right to the end before the credits, then you've missed out, because Simon did a little bit of fancy editing for me on there. So if you haven't checked it out, go and have a look. He had me in absolute fits with what he did there. So definitely check that one out. And I'll try and keep it short today. Like I said, not much has really been happening, and I've mostly just been working away on a couple of projects. And I guess maybe I can start with the boring one, because it's the one that you've all seen before, and that is Simon's sock. So I haven't done a whole heap on this project. I believe last week when I showed you this, I had just turned the heel on it, and I've now got almost 2 inches, I suppose, past the heel. So yeah, I haven't been doing a lot on it. I did take it with me to the doctor yesterday, and I knit on it a little bit. But my doctor actually was on quite good time yesterday, so it didn't take too long for me to get in and see her. And don't stress, it's nothing bad. I will talk about it a little bit at the end. But yeah, my stockinette sock, it's getting worked on. I did a little bit waiting for Simon in the car yesterday as well. So yeah, it's just kind of a fill-in thing at the moment. But the 2 main projects that I'm working on are far more exciting than this. So it hasn't been getting a lot of love other than taking it with me places that I've been going, which hasn't been a lot because it's hot and I don't want to leave my house. So that's Simon's sock. Very boring, hardly anything happening with that one. And I'll put it back where it belongs, which is up here on top of my lounge. That's where I keep my sock project. So I guess I can get on to the other 2 projects that I have been working on. They are right next to me here, but I will just adjust my seating for a little bit. There we go, that's much more comfortable. Okay, so the first thing I can show you is I'll show you the one that I was working on first, because these are both new cast-ons. They are things that have been cast on since last week. So yes, I'm crazy, and they're both sweaters. So I'm super, super crazy. I'm the crazy woman who is knitting sweaters in the middle of a heat wave. Now that I've untangled myself, this is the Weekender sweater by Andrea Mowry. So it is still kind of inside out at the moment because that's how you knit it. I don't know how to show you this because it's rather large and it has been inside out. I've just turned it the right way around. So this is the front piece. I am to the point now where I have separated the front and the back, and I'm working on the front piece. So if you haven't seen this sweater before, it is a drop shoulder sweater. If you haven't seen it, I'm surprised because I feel like every woman and her dog has knit this. It's knit inside out because it is reverse stockinette on the outside, and it has this awesome faux seam detail on it, and which is in a knit stitch, and it has a really funky, I really like it, it's a split hem. Ooh, got fluff on my mouth. A split hem that is longer at the back than it is at the front. So you can see there, you can probably, let me hold it up a bit further. So the back is a little bit longer than the front, and you cast on the two hem pieces on their own separately at the beginning, and it starts with a tubular cast on, which I love because tubular cast on just has such a nice finish to it, so I really enjoyed that, although I did rip them out quite a few times because I think one of the first ones that I did, I actually had it kind of had my stitches kind of twisted, or I untwisted them or something when I was doing my first couple of passes after casting on all my stitches, so I did rip that out, but I left it a little bit long because I actually ripped it out after I was about 2 inches in, so you know, I couldn't have seen it sooner than that. But yes, that's what I did, and that was for the back one because the back one is the one that you do first. And I believe, yes, I had cast on the front one, and by then, because I'd already done the back 2 or 3 times, I was very, very comfortable with doing the tubular cast on. However, I got right to the end because it's the long tail tubular cast on method, and I'd gotten right to the end. I had to put on 117 stitches, I think. I did that. I was doing my first pass of slipping and knitting the stitches. I got right to the end and I dropped the last 2 stitches because my needle fell out and I couldn't figure out how to do the twist kind of in reverse and you know, to try and pick those up, so I couldn't do that, and so I had to rip it all out and recast it on. But that's okay, that's a long time in the past now. So pretty much, yeah, you just knit it inside out for quite a few inches. I think it was about 15 inches from the back cast on hem, and then you split into front and back. So I am almost at the point, so that's where the back stitches are on hold, and then that's the front arm side stitches, and I'm almost at the point where I can start doing short row shaping for the shoulders. So this is getting picked up, put down. It is now becoming a little bit of a blanket, but it's not too bad. It's really not too bad. What else can I say? I realize that I have not been breathing. I need to breathe. I can talk about my yarn. I am using some Blue Moon Fibre Arts Targi that I've had, now let me think. This one's black, I believe, and this one's blacker. So I've had black for a very, very long time. I purchased from Eat.Sleep.Knit. Both of these came from Eat.Sleep.Knit. And I've had this one for a very long time, and when I realised, I don't know how I didn't realise this to begin with, when I realised there was such big yardage in these, that I could just buy 2 and I'd be able to knit a sweater. And by the time I thought of that and wanted to go back and get another another skein, they've never, that I've seen, had this colourway back in stock. So I ended up getting blacker, which is a very similar base. It just has more of a browny black kind of, it's not really a speckle, I don't really know what to call it. They are quite similar colorways, like the base purple that you can see there is very, very similar. So I've been striping these together, and same as what I was doing last week on my puntilla sweater, I have been using the helical method to do my color changes. So I think it's worked pretty well. Because they have a very similar base color, there are sections where I have two separate colorways, but they look the same because that base purple is so similar. And I was worried because the helical knitting, you basically swap every round, so you're only doing one round in each color. But when I started knitting flat, obviously you need to go backwards and forwards, so you're doing 2 rows per color, and I really was a bit worried, and I was trying to figure out how there'd be a way I could do 1 row of each, and the only way I could really figure it out was if I cut it at the end of every round, and I was like, no, I'm not doing that. Because I already am very tight on yardage, because I have the 2 balls, which are about 616 yards, I think, each. So I have, I think, around about 1200, 1300 yards, and I should be able to make the size that I'm making of the weekender with that. I should have a little bit left over, but it is still tight, so I don't want to waste any yarn if I can at all help it. But I can't really see much difference because the outside is reverse stockinette. It doesn't really make any difference, the fact that I'm doing 2 rows of each, and because I think there is that very common purple base colour, it just kind of, you don't really notice. And because purling, you know, on the reverse stockinette, you've got a little bit above of one colour, a little bit below of the other colour, because, you know, they're knit one row after the other. Yeah, it's not a problem. I think it's okay. And yeah, so I've been plugging away on this, and the other thing I have been doing, which I can talk to you about now, I'm just going to have a sip of water. So the other project that I have been working on is one that I've been completely enabled by Molly of A Homespun House, and it is the No Frills Sweater. So I'm sure everybody has heard of this as well. It is a very popular pattern at the moment. And you'll have to mind me because I've got 4 balls of yarn coming off this project, and of course they are quite opposite ends of the piece that I'm working on, because I again am doing the helical method to alternate skeins. So it's going to be a little bit hard to see because my cable is a little bit short, because my next cable up is actually on my weekender. So this is the beginnings of my No Frills sweater. I'm not sure which one is front. That's the front. So there are short rows done on this so that it sits a little bit higher at the back, and it's a raglan sweater, and it's knit by holding, let me see if I can find the right ones to hold up. It probably doesn't really matter, but you basically hold a skein of mohair and a skein of fingering weight yarn together, so it's lace weight and fingering weight. So I've been holding them together as I knit, and it creates a lovely soft fabric from that silk and mohair, and with the lovely halo. It's not really a lot to talk about at this point in time because I'm just doing my raglan increases at the moment, so I'm not quite ready to separate my sleeves. I think I've still got a good probably 20 rounds left to get to the bottom of the to get my increases finished. But the yarns that I'm using are my own yarns. These are Lovebird Lane yarns, and the variegated that I have is on my sheepy base, and that is my Velveteen colourway, which is a brand new one to the shop this year. There is still, I think, a couple of skeins in the shop if you like this one. And this is my fluff butt, and I don't actually have any of this in the shop at the moment. because the only fluff butt that I have in the shop is in my sparkling cider hat kits, which are still available. There's still 3 of those available. But I'm thinking about possibly putting just the undyed fluff butt in the shop, so that if you do want to do something like this where you just want to hold a strand of it with another colour, people can do that. So if you guys are interested in me putting this up as its own undyed colourway in the shop, please do let me know and I will do that. So there's not really much to write home about on this one. Like I said, I'm just still doing my raglan increases and just going round and round and round and round. And yeah, but I'm really loving the yarn. It's knitting up a little bit different than I thought it would. I thought there'd be a lot more, let me straighten that out a little bit more white, but yeah, I do love it. It's really lovely. Those colours together, the burgundy and that blue and that sort of blue lilac colour, are actually really, really lovely, and I love the mohair. And I think I already said in my first podcast back about the sparkling cider hats that I did, how I just want to knit everything with the strand of mohair now. So I am loving that, apart from having fluff everywhere because it's just molting everywhere. It's really, really beautiful to work with, and I'm super, super happy. And the interesting thing is that my sheepy base is BFL, so it's a little bit more rustic. It's just that little bit more, it's wonderful for socks. It's just that little bit more rustic. It's not as soft as merino is, but with the silk and mohair in this, it's really, really, really soft. And I'm really looking forward to wearing this next year, or this year now, isn't it? It's 2019. Where have I been? Next winter is probably what I intended to say. And both of these sweaters that I've cast on, they're both, I think, are supposed to have about 10 inches of positive ease. So I'm making not quite that. I'm at about, I think, 8 inches of positive ease for my bust measurement in both of them. So they're going to be lovely and oversized and snuggly for when the weather gets cold again, which is who knows when. It seems like it's never going to happen with the weather that we're having right now. But that's all that I've been working on. That is it. As you can see, I've made a lot of progress on that weekender sweater. So yeah, I've been not monogamous, but I've been working on the 2 projects sort of side by side. I pick up one, do a little bit of work. I pick up the other one, do a little bit of work. So that's what I've been working on. So I guess I can talk a little bit about what's going on. I didn't want to panic anybody with my visit to the doctor, so I'll tell you what that's all about. It's actually the silliest thing. I was cleaning out my bird cages because I've got the 2 birds, 2 separate cages, because I cannot put Boo in with Marion because Lovebirds are very territorial and she will probably kill him. So I have them in separate cages, and I was cleaning them out on Monday. And Boo has a branch, like a piece of branch in his cage. And I took the branch out so that I could clean it, but like I put it down on the ground, and I was walking around with no shoes on because usually I would wear thongs, but when I'm out and about outside, but with the fact that I was using a hose, my thongs always get full of water, and because I have the big squishy Crocs ones, I tend to slip and slide in them, and I actually am more at risk of turning my ankle in the thongs than going barefoot with all the water everywhere. So because I hose their cages down, it's just the easiest way to clean them. And I, without thinking, stepped on the branch of from Boo's cage. So I lately have, this is going to seem like a tangent, but it does explain a little bit about how I got my injury. I have been slack for a very, very long time with looking after my feet, and I've just lately this year made a commitment to myself. Commitment is my word of the year, by the way. I've made a commitment to myself that I will look after my feet better. So I have been, giving them a good old, scrape down with files and putting cream on every night and making sure that they're all nice and taken care of. I've actually been painting my toenails and all that kind of self-care stuff. And I stepped on this branch and it basically punched right through my heel. So it hurt. It still hurts. And I've been trying to walk on it, but it's actually really painful. And Tuesday night we went to my mother-in-law's house because it was her birthday yesterday, which was Wednesday, but we went on Tuesday because my sister-in-law wasn't going to be able to make it on the actual day. So we went round to her house and we went in the pool because it was so super hot. Granger and I had a swim. My sister-in-law had a swim. There is a fly buzzing around. I hope you guys don't see him. So we had a swim and I was hobbling around and my mother-in-law said to me, "Oh, I'm really worried about that foot." And she's like, "You've got me worried now." And she's like, "Have you had a tetanus shot?" and all this kind of thing. And I'm like, yeah, I've had one of those like back 7 years ago or something. Anyway, I am able to book in to my doctor through my phone, so I just jumped on and I booked an appointment, and that was for yesterday. And she checked out my foot, and thankfully it's not infected. There is no branch left in my foot, and it's just going to be painful and slow to heal because apparently feet are very slow to heal. And she said it's just a really nasty skin split, which is what I've done. So yes, hopefully that's not too much information, it hasn't grossed anybody out. I'm not a foot person, I don't like feet personally, but I have to look after my own. So yeah, I've just got a really nasty split, so she's given me a little piece of foam just to put under a band-aid just to keep it cushioned, and she said just to keep it clean and covered, so that's what I'm doing. I just have to look after my foot and hope that it heals pretty quickly, because I've not been able to go on many walks this week because of the pain in my foot, unfortunately. So yes, that's my medical drama. And yeah, going to Rosalie's house was probably the only exciting thing that we've really done this week. I always enjoy going for a swim. I'm a bit of a water baby, so yeah, I always enjoy that. My sister-in-law Jackie and I had some fun with pool noodles, and we were trying to float ourselves around on them, and Granger was in and out of the pool trying to fetch his toys. So yeah, he enjoys that. I think Granger really does like going for a swim. And it's fun to watch as well because he's such a derp. Like when he gets in and he has nothing in his feet, in his mouth, he just slaps the water and there's splashing going everywhere. And then as soon as he picks up his toy, he does a proper doggy paddle, and it's just bizarre, and it's quite funny to watch. But yeah, that's about it. So I think I might leave it there. I'll get cracking on the editing because, like I said last week, I have got a new program that I am using, and yeah, it's still a little bit of a learning curve. So it takes me a little bit longer to edit my podcast than it normally would. So if I stop now, I might actually get it finished by the time I need to pick Simon up from work, which is 4 o'clock, and it's only just past 12. So wish me luck. Give me strength. Anyway, so I hope you guys have all had a fantastic week, and thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please do hit that subscribe button and give us a thumbs up because it really does help with YouTube. And yeah, which I really appreciate if you could do that little thing for me. And of course we have a Ravelry group, we have a Facebook page, I am on Instagram. All of that stuff will be down in the description along with the show notes. Everything will be in the description from now on, so that if I do talk about something and you want to have a look, you can pop straight down there and click on the link. So again, thank you so much for watching. Have a lovely week. Stay cool if you're somewhere hot, stay warm if you're somewhere cold, and I will catch you next week. So have a good one. Bye.